Yeah, I welcome you to yet another episode. My name is Osbert Nwarinda. In these new episodes, we are going to be looking at respiration, as you see on my board here. Now, to go straight, we very well know that respiration is a key process in our bodies. And the respiration is this process by which food is broken down. Food is broken down to produce energy. However, when you talk about respiration is something which is much broader than actually what we usually say. For example, when I stand here and I say that respiration is the process by which food is broken down to produce energy, in one or the other, I may not be right. Why? Because respiration in the broad sense is divided into two. If you talk about respiration, this respiration is divided into two. And what is that? In respiration, we look at two types, and these two types are, we have got what we call internal, we have got to call internal respiration, we have got to call internal respiration, and we have got to call external. We have got to call external respiration. External respiration. Now, of these two types, of course, these names have got, we also have other names which are similar to this. For example, this internal respiration is also referred to as, is also called cellular. Is also called cellular respiration. And then some other people go on in other books, it is also called tissue respiration. Tissue respiration. And on the other side, this external respiration is also what is referred to as breathing. Is what is referred to as breathing. So here it means under external respiration we are looking at the intake. We are looking at the intake. We're looking at intake. And outlet. Intake and giving out. You can say giving out. You can talk about giving out. We are looking at intake and giving out of what? Of air. And of course, this air we are talking about oxygen and carbon dioxide. So in as far as external respiration, this is basically what we are referring to. Taking in of air and also giving out of air. That is what we refer to by external respiration, what we also call breathing. Of course, you know very well that breathing involves breathing in, and then breathing out. Breathing out. Yeah. So this is what we talk. But now, in most cases, whenever they usually ask about people that what is respiration, most people what they usually give, or the definition that I gave at first was actually a definition for this. When it comes to tissue respiration, when it comes to cellular respiration, or what we also call internal respiration, now here, that's where we have the likes. That's where we have the issues of, this is where we have the likes of food being broken down to produce what? To produce energy. So tissue respiration is the process by which food is broken down to produce energy. So all of us, whenever you eat food, we are saying this food, once you have eaten it, undergoes through it undergoes through digestion. After it has undergone through digestion, this food in the ileum is going to be absorbed, and after it has been absorbed, we are saying it will be transported into the cells. When it goes into the cells, now within the cells, that food will further be broken down. That food, for example, glucose, will further be broken down to produce energy. That's what we call tissue respiration, and that's what most people usually give whenever they ask for rest. But respiration is in general terms. Here we are saying respiration in general terms refers to intake and giving out of air. And we are saying, of course, before this food is broken down, for this food to be broken down, we are saying this oxygen, for example, is very important. in as far as oxygen, in as far as breakdown of food is concerned. This oxygen is going to be very important. So it means taking in of oxygen in one or the other is important. In as far as facilitating internal respiration is concerned. Are you getting? And at the same time, we shall see that once this, for example, internal respiration takes place within a cell, once this internal respiration takes place within a cell, what happens is that you shall realize in this news episode, you're going to realize that we produce carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide that is produced needs to be given out, and therefore the breathing will facilitate. The breathing out will facilitate the removal of that carbon dioxide. And of course, when you talk about breathing, also plants carry out respiration. You see, when you talk about respiration, most of you might think only in line with what? In line of animals, but we are also saying plants also carry out respiration. And also likewise, plants carry out both internal and external. Within plants, we have food being broken down to produce energy. However, when it comes to breathing in and breathing out, we are saying, yes, plants also are capable of taking in oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide. Of course, somebody might say, that's not true. It is true. However, we are saying during the day, in a plant, during the day, the plants take in carbon dioxide. Why? Because there, with carbon dioxide is needed for what? For photosynthesis. So the plants during the day, they take in carbon dioxide and give out oxygen as a byproduct of photosynthesis. However, at night, now when you come to the aspect of respiration, at night, what happens is that at night, the plants are also capable of taking in oxygen. That's why if you have had some advice from different areas, also maybe from this channel, we are saying it's not right for you to have plants within your house. There are people who love putting, these plants which have which are in containers in house. That's not right. Why? Because we are saying at night we are going to find ourselves competing with those plants that we have in our houses for oxygen, because we are saying at night these plants take in oxygen. So it means at night you'll be competing with that plant for oxygen and you may end up suffocating. Now the question would be, teacher, what about during the day? Yeah, during the day, because the plant is taking in carbon dioxide, and carrying out respiration. During this respiration, because the plant is taking in carbon dioxide to use in photosynthesis. During this photosynthesis, one of the byproducts that is produced is oxygen. Now, this oxygen that is produced during the day from photosynthesis can then be utilized. Some of it can be utilized in respiration, and therefore the plant may not necessarily need to take in oxygen from outside, because within the plant itself, as it is carrying out photosynthesis, it is able to produce oxygen, and that some of that oxygen is utilized within the plant for respiration, and then the other excess is what the plant will give out outside for us to breathe, me and you as animals to breathe. So please take note of that. So we are also saying plants carry out respiration, both external and internal. So this is the topic that we are going to be breaking down in as far as these new episodes are concerned. Now, for my friend who is watching, I want to also put this one clear, that most of these episodes that I'm starting are going to be more of advanced level. So if you are my friend and maybe you are still in O level, yeah, I may say that this content that you're going to be sharing in these new topics, new episodes are going to be more of advanced level. So I do expect to have more of the people who are in advanced level and that are going to be following me, so they can get. So please make sure that you keep following, you keep looking out for every episode that comes along, because on every episode there will be something rich that you're going to be studying. Now, after having known all this, now we ask ourselves, in our body, where does this respiration take place? Let us meet in the next episode. Thank you very much.